Home prices are up, inventory is tight, and home buyers are struggling to keep up with the market. Is Halifax's real estate market headed towards a tipping point? Stay tuned because this could be impacting your next big move. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down year-to-date market stats here in the Halifax market, and then we're going to be relating that to household incomes here in the Halifax area and how much home the typical Halifax resident can afford to buy here and whether or not this is feasible, and this could push us towards the infamous bubble bursting. We're going to be diving into whether or not Halifax home prices can even afford to continue to rise if the buyer pool is getting sucked dry because there's no money to go around. So stay tuned for all of this helpful information. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Greg Pierce. I'm a local real estate agent and investor in the Halifax area. So if you are new here, please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. It truly helps me out, and hit that notification icon so you can be informed anytime I release new content. If you are interested in chatting a little bit more in depth about your specific situation, whether you're thinking of buying, selling, investing, or just curious about the real estate market, let's book a one-on-one call. Click on the Calendly link below in my description, and I'm happy to set a time, whether it's a phone call, video call, or meet up at a coffee shop at your convenience. All right, let's get into it. So if you are a seller and you currently own a home here, you're in good position. And we're gonna be covering a little bit about that. But clearly right now, there is a huge issue with first-time homebuyers getting into the market. Most of my videos lately have been about that because that is really the big challenge. So we're gonna be breaking down year-to-date stats from Jan 1 all the way through till the end of November and discuss what trends we're seeing here and whether or not this is feasible to continue long-term. So right off the hop, this was supposed to be a slow year by all standards. Interest rates really were unsettled. We're starting to see some of that concern come from the economy. But despite all of that, home prices are on the rise, and they're actually up 8.2% compared to the same time period last year for a total of 4,912 home sales. Now keep in mind, every time there's a home sold, there's a seller and a buyer on each of these transactions. So there's a lot more people that are impacted than just the numbers seen here. More importantly, what is it going to cost you to own one of these homes here in the beautiful Halifax, Dartmouth region? Well, the average sale price is $575,708, and that is also a 4.5% increase from the same time last year. So we're seeing more homes being sold, and we're seeing them sell for higher prices than this time last year. So all things considered, for sellers, again, that's great news. Your investment is holding strong and growing. But for buyers, we're still seeing some challenges on getting a really good deal. Interest rates are still staying relatively high compared to what we saw in years prior. And inventory is still low, which we're going to discuss next. So listing inventory has been pretty consistently in the seller's market segment. We're seeing 2.4 months of inventory right now. That is up slightly from 2 months this time last year, but that is still an extremely strong seller's market. I've discussed this on many videos, but anytime you're below 4 months of inventory, you are absolutely in a seller's market. So the lower that number gets, the better of a seller's market it is, and that means it's a disadvantageous for the buyer. Now, in terms of how long these houses are taking to sell, the average days on market here in the Halifax, Dartmouth region is 33 days. That is up 5 days from this time last year. However, that's still a pretty quick turnaround. I've broken this down in videos before. Anything sub that $500,000, $550,000 price point, that's gonna move a lot faster. This is being skewed upwards due to some of those higher price points once you get north of kind of $650,000, $700,000. Obviously, it's gonna be dependent on the quality of the home, the neighborhood, and the agent listing the property. But for the most part, homes are still moving fairly quickly. So what does this all mean for you? Let's break it down first from the seller's standpoint. When we're looking at low inventory, home prices on the rise, and a good volume of sales happening, this is a good indication that it is still very much a seller's market. This is beneficial for the seller. You're gonna walk away with more equity. You're probably gonna sell your home quite quickly, and there's still a large buyer pool out there to buy up your property if you're gonna be going on market. So these are all really good signs if you're a seller. It really hasn't shifted. We haven't seen a buyer's market in quite some time. So this isn't necessarily new groundbreaking news. However, we are seeing more of a stable market. We're not gonna be seeing these, $100,000, $150,000 over asking. Those are definitely outliers, whereas that was the norm not that long ago. So things are a little bit more stable, which is a good thing for the market. Now let's flip over to the buyer side. I'm gonna be blunt here. It is extremely tough right now. Despite where you sit from an income standpoint, it is really difficult to be a first-time home buyer. You don't have any equity from the sale of your home coming into it. Times are tough financially, so it's very rare that people are able to come in with a full 20% plus down payment on the property, meaning they're going to be having really high mortgage payments and you're going to be paying PMI, so property mortgage insurance. So these are things that you need to keep in mind. If you are a buyer, there are some additional expenses if you're not able to come up with that 20% down payment. Furthermore, prices are continuing to increase, which is going to mean your down payment, your deed transfer tax, and some of your additional closing costs are also going to increase. And then also there's not a lot of inventory, so there's not a ton to choose from, which can create some frustration and maybe settling for a home that you don't truly love, but you're willing to make some sacrifices because there's not a lot to choose from. You need to buy a home and you're tired of paying top dollar for rent. So as I already mentioned in this video, are we reaching a tipping point for the buyers in this market? Can home prices continue to climb? How are there ever going to be any buyers for these home prices? Well, we're going to break that down and actually look at specific numbers on affordability for the typical Halifax resident. So here in Halifax, the median household income is around $81,000. That's before taxes. So if we're breaking that down and figuring out how much that household can afford, it's pretty sad and it's not looking good for anyone that's in and around that ballpark. And keep in mind, that's median, so there's a lot of people that are below that mark too. So for this example, we're gonna be using $81,000 median income. We're gonna be using a $25,000 down payment that's available. In theory, that would allow you to purchase 5% down on a $500,000 home. We're gonna be using a 3.99% fixed 5-year mortgage, which is better than most rates are available currently. And we're going to be using 2 different monthly expense scenarios. These are not going to be including household expenses because that's going to be factored in when you go to get your mortgage pre-approval. If you only have $1,000 monthly expenses for a household, okay, this is very, very low. Your affordability is $374,000 roughly. Okay, you can buy a $374,000 home. In the Halifax Dartmouth region, at the time of this recording, there are 103 homes available that are under $375,000. That includes single family homes, mini or mobile homes, and condos. Okay, there are 103 to go around. Again, keep in mind, this is the median household income. Furthermore, $1,000 a month for monthly expenses is extremely low. That is someone that is very frugal, likely has their car paid off or low car payments, very good on gas, maybe uses public transit. These are not overly realistic situations. So let's bump that monthly expense up to $2,000 and see how it impacts. If your monthly expenses are $2,000 in this exact same scenario, $81,000 median household income, $25,000 down payment, and a 3.99 5-year fixed rate mortgage, your pre-approval amount now drops down to $183,000. Okay, that is not good news. There are only 19 homes available in the entire Halifax Dartmouth region, HRM, which can be 2 hours down the Eastern Shore. There are only 19 homes available for that price point. And no offense to these 19 homes, but I will tell you that these are not going to be in good condition. They're going to be extremely far away, talking 2 hours from Halifax, potentially down the Eastern Shore. And you're going to be experiencing massive commutes because no amenities and no jobs necessarily around these areas, generally speaking. So just to reiterate, if you're making $81,000 as a household, which is median average in Halifax region, it is extremely difficult for you to be able to buy a home. Extremely. Even if you're frugal, have little to no debt, you still can't afford anywhere close to the average home price. Okay, as discussed, average home prices here in this region are $578,000. If you make a median income and you are frugal and control your monthly expenses and have a $25,000 down payment, you are looking anywhere between $183,000 to $375,000 typically. That is not a good sign for first-time home buyers that have decent jobs but not high earning jobs. So let's bump that up. Let's go to $120,000 household income. You know, a couple that makes $60,000 each. Very respectable jobs, great household income. Let's see what they can do. So in that exact same scenario, aside from the household income, $25,000 down payment, which again should be able to afford you a $500,000 home to meet the minimum 5% down payment. We're also going to be using that 3.99 fixed rate mortgage. This household couple can afford $443,000 home. Okay, we're talking, a significant jump from the previous situation. There's only 152 available houses, single family houses, mobile or mini homes, and condos available in the entire Halifax Dartmouth region. That's an active listing at the time of this recording. Okay, under that price point. And that's using $2,000 a month, monthly expenses, okay? So you make $120,000 as a household. You're only spending outside of household expenses, $2,000 a month on servicing debt, your car payments, gas, insurance, subscriptions like Netflix, all those things. Very, very frugal. 3.99 fixed rate mortgage, which again is one of the best rates I've heard recently. Typically we're talking low fours at the time of this recording. Only 152 homes available in that price point. So the question remains, with all of this increase in the market, right? We're back above where we were even at the peak of COVID. Our prices continue to climb. It's still a seller's market. We still have low inventory. Where do first-time home buyers go? And while this has been doom and gloom, there are some things that are here to help first-time home buyers. There are initiatives out there. There are programs out there that people need to educate themselves on, find out if it makes sense for them or not, and figure out how to go about it. Is it tough? Absolutely. Are there ways around it? 100%. And I do believe that, yes, my generation, I'm gonna say, is experiencing maybe more challenges financially than their parents. And that's kind of the first time this has happened in maybe ever. But in respects to that, there are a lot of initiatives and incentives to help people get into the market. Okay, so by December 15th, 30-year amortizations will be available for all first-time home buyers. Okay, so that's going to extend the lifespan of your mortgage by 5 years, from 25-year amortization to 30 years. This will lower your monthly mortgage payment and should increase your affordability. This is not advisable for someone that can already get into a perfectly good home just so they can get a little bit nicer. Go from a home that has laminate countertops to quartz and granite. Go from a home that's on half an acre lot to an acre lot. Go from a home that has perfectly good shingle roofs to a metal roof. These types of upgrades that aren't necessary because you are taking on more debt in the long run. But if this can get you into a home where you otherwise would not be able to, this is beneficial. This is what these things are here for. Secondly, there are down payment assistance programs out there. So if you can't come up with the $25,000 because you're strapped and all of your hard-earned income goes to monthly expenses every single month, then there are programs out there for you to help you get into your first-time home. Last but not least, here in Nova Scotia, the Conservative government that got voted in very recently discussed as part of their platform a 2% down payment. Okay, so currently it's a 5% minimum. This would drop it down to 2%. Again, allowing people to get in at a lower cost. So there are programs and initiatives out there by all levels of government to help this bracket. Everybody knows that it's a challenge for first-time homebuyers. Does it mean you should wait on the sidelines? It's a bad time to buy. It's really difficult. Maybe I'll just wait it out. The answer is no. And that is why this is challenging, is because we are now seeing more of a leveled off, typical kind of growth market here in the Halifax Dartmouth region. And while you sit on the sidelines, homes are getting more expensive, your payments are going to get higher and higher, and it's likely going to outpace your earning potential. Meaning home prices are going to increase faster than your pay raises or your monthly salary grows. These are things that you need to keep in mind while you're debating this. You may need to settle on getting into a home that doesn't meet your needs now, but that allows you to leverage that home, sell it in a few years' time to get into something that suits your life more. This may mean a sacrifice of lifestyle. You may be living in a very nice apartment that you're currently renting and having to buy a home that is not as nice. It doesn't have as nice finishes. You need to do some serious renovations. It might be further away from your job. These are the sacrifices you need to make to build long-term wealth. And to be perfectly honest, my generation and generations younger, I don't think we're great at making sacrifices. I think in the world of social media, it's very easy to want to appear like we have it all put together. We drive nice cars, we live in nice places. But sometimes you need to swallow your pride, because we're all going to be 60, 65, 70 years old at some point, and renting is not the key to setting yourself up for success. You are going to want to take those trips to Italy when you're retired. you are going to want to spend time with your grandkids and travel and all these great things. But if you're renting for the entirety of your life, you're not going to be able to accomplish that. So I know this was a little bit of a rant. I do apologize, but thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found this video helpful. If you need some encouragement, if you're a first-time home buyer struggling to wrap your head around this, please book a call, description in the link below. I'd love to chat to you about that. If you're a seller, this continues to be good news for you. And as mentioned, the market shows no signs of slowing down. There's tons of demand. Our population is growing. All signs are pointing to this being a market that is here to stay. So do not sit on the sidelines waiting for things to pass you by. We are not going to be seeing a tipping point or a bubble bursting and coming back down to more affordable home prices. You need to pick up your socks and find a way to get into the housing market and then leverage that down the road to get into something that's more suitable for you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you found this video helpful. Please do me a huge favor, click that like button, tap that subscribe button, and hit that notification icon so you can be informed anytime I release new content. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.